Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. And look at that beautiful setting and that beautiful red carpet of the A1 Padel right here in Lanzarote, the marina of Lanzarote. And if you don't know where Lanzarote is, and you think perhaps it's part of the African continent, it isn't. It is a Spanish island, and although only 125 kilometers north of the coast of Africa and 1,000 kilometers off the Iberian Peninsula, it is a Spanish island, and also known as the island of eternal spring because of its year-round warm weather and some of the beautiful beaches and volcanic landscape that surrounds this island. In fact, this island is a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, and what a status that is to have in terms of sustainability and the environment. A sellout crowd is expected here at the Lanzarote Marina. The weather has improved dramatically since yesterday. It was a very cloudy and windy day. Still a lot of cloud around today, and the temperature is still 21 degrees, which is quite nice, but the sun is breaking through. The humidity is still strong at 65 degrees, 65%. However, the wind has died from a strong 31 to a current 24. You can see there those flags and those trees waving around as our court announcer starts to welcome the crowd in and begins to introduce the protagonist of this final. And Massimo Maldonado is the first one to get on court, ranked 18 on the A1 Padel Global Tour. Not for long. That rating will be, you'll see tomorrow's ratings when they release. Massimo Maldonado will climb some spots there, and he will be playing in the drive position, the right-hand side of the court. The forehand, as some of you might know it, and he forms the one part of the team now known as Los Eléctricos, and the winners of the Battle of the Giant Slayers in yesterday's semi-final. There on your screens, Luciano Pupo, ranked 22 on the A1 Padel Global Ranking. His ranking 2 will move up the scale, and between these two, a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old young men about to enter their prime of the paddle courts, and they will be for sure looking to add perhaps create upset here, and we'll talk about all the upsets. They're not strangers to upsets. They are the giant slayers of the tournaments, as we welcome there the number one ranked player on the A1 Padel Global Ranking, the number one player in the world, the ambassador of Salta, the king of the bajadas, the incomparable super professional Maxi Arce, 27 years of age, from Salta in Argentina. And what a player that is on your screens. What a privilege it is to watch Maxi Arce tournament after tournament here on the A1 Padel Global Tour, putting in a superlative performance each and every time. His partner in crime, or at least in paddle, Franco Del Bianco, and you see they're pointing his racket, also known as El Atirador, the sniper, the number 3 ranked player on the A1 Padel Global Ranking, 25 years of age. So very, very good average age here for these young players. And the average age here on this court is 23 years of age. Not bad for young talent, already so established and already so experienced. So the number 1 seeds on your screen there in the pink, getting some refreshment before they get on court for the customary team photo with the match umpire, as well as to get a warm-up and do the toss. And they'll be taking on, in the all-black, Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo. Outsiders, ranked 18 and 22, but don't let that fool you. These two young men have been brewing an appearance in the final, their first ever final of their careers. They started brewing this when they reached in 2024 the finals of the Fabrice Pastor Cup in Puebla, Mexico. And they followed that up earlier this year, confirmed the improvement as a pairing, and reached the semi-final of the Fabrice Pastor Cup in Buenos Aires earlier this year. They didn't rest there, and the A1 Cordoba Open, also earlier this year, the second tournament on the calendar. They reached the semifinals, their first ever semifinals on the tournament. And who do they play in that semifinal? Coming off worse, of course, against Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco. So a rematch, and this time in a final. That was their very first semifinal, and this their very first final. Yesterday having been their second semifinal. So building up, no surprise. The pundits who will watch A1 Paddle week in, week out have been highlighting these young gentlemen, Maldonado and Pupo, as players to watch for the 2025 season. And here they are justifying that tag. An all Argentinian final, as you saw there. Umpire Carlos Juarez tossing the coin there. It seems like Luciano Pupo has won the toss and has chosen to not only serve but to stay on this side of the court closest to us. We spoke about conditions, so very important where they start off. The wind is blowing as you watch your screen away from the camera towards the grandstand. So you'll find that balls traveling from camera side to grandstand are going to carry a little bit. So players will have to be careful. And those traveling in the opposite direction will be holding up in the air. So that is something to watch out for. Less wind than yesterday, which is going to be propitious to excellent paddle. We saw very little successful smashing or por tres or por cuatro in yesterday's semifinals, and that was because the wind was really playing havoc. 31 kilometers at one stage, 34 kilometers an hour. Today, a more subdued 24 kilometers an hour. Of course, the humidity slowing down the balls. But these are balls being used are the Nox Nebros, the official ball of the A1 Paddle Tour for 2025. Nox, the ball partner, already for its second year running. Last year we used the Nox Titaniums. Fantastic ball that is. And this year, the brand new Nox Nebro, which is a slightly faster ball and will be propitious in these conditions. The players will be very glad they are playing with these balls. On your screen there, Maxi Arce, the number one ranked player. He was the undisputed number one for the entire 2024, lost his number one status sometime during the 2024 season, but now firmly entrenched as the number one once again, and something that he takes, a privilege he takes very, very seriously, does young Maxi Arce. There's Franco Del Bianco from Quilmes, Argentina. This, of course, started off yesterday. We watched the Battle of the Giant Slayers. That was when Maldonado and Pupo really dispatched young Lopez and Gutierrez. And then we also watched the Battle of the Resurgence with Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco wanting to prove a point against Jesus Ruiz and Adrian Mercadal. Today is this all Argentinian final where Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco, after having reached already this is their third final of the year, and having been unceremoniously dumped out of the France Masters in the quarterfinals, will be looking to reassert their number one seeding and their number one status as a pairing on the A1 Paddle Global Tour. They will want to prove that they can once again be champions, that they can win these tournaments, and that the respect that they have augured throughout the 23 and 24 seasons, it needs to be restored to them as the ultimate number ones. Of course, Maldonado and Pupo there on your screen are not going to take that line down. As I said, ranked 18 and 22, that'll go up substantially after this performance, having reached their first final, but they will not be runovers. They will not roll over for these number ones. They'll be putting up a very, very big fight, and lots of subplots going on here. Lots and lots of subplots. We'll tell you about them. These four gentlemen all come out of the same paddle academy. Imagine that. The PPT Academy in Buenos Aires. All four players there, a powerful paddle academy in South America and Argentina. 20 of the top 100 players in the world practice, train, and were groomed at the PPT Academy. And these four are certainly part of that number. And being from the same academy, very interestingly, they shared the same coach. Ivan Fuentes was on their bench for both their semi-finals of yesterday. Interesting interview in the preview with Ivan Fuentes, where he had a meeting with all four of these players this morning to explain the difficult conditions. And it'll be interesting to see on which bench Ivan Fuentes will be sitting. If you've just joined us, there's the head-to-head on this pairing. They've only played each other once. That was the semi-finals of the A1 Padel Cordoba Open here in Argentina earlier in the year, and it was an overwhelming victory of 6-love and 6-2 by Del Bianco and Arce over Maldonado and Pupo. Strong statistics there. Total points won 51 to 23, and that is the tail of the tape. But I can tell you now, if you are a betting man, that will not be the result in the semi-final. Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo have improved beyond recognition since that semi-final just a couple of months ago. Cordoba was in mid-March. We are now at the end of April. So in the last month, they've improved leaps and bounds. They know what to expect. They are great friends, but friendship will not come into it as they become rivals on the court. At stake, of course, a large chunk of the €156,000 prize pool. The A1 Padel now with the highest average prize pool of any professional global tour on offer. There are tournaments with higher prize money, but on average, for the entire tour, the highest average. €156,000 at stake here. And these players will not only want the bulk of that to come into their pockets, they will also want that beautiful trophy and the tick on their CV of having won the 2025 A1 Padel Lanzarote Open, not to mention the ranking points. That is on your screen, the road to the final, how they got here. Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco, initial blip in their first round match where they went down 1-6 in their first round to Pineda and Luna, came back strongly for a 6-2, 6-3 dispatching. Second round, Urzola and Murillo in their way, 6-1 and 6-3. Then Maxi Sanchez and Federico Chostri, who we thought would put up a stronger fight, having been seeded number 6 for the tournament, going their way 6-4 and 6-2. And then yesterday's semi-final against Jesus Ruiz and Adrian Mercadal, a double 6-3. A little bit more adventure in Maldonado and Pupo's road. 3-setter against Zamora and Serrano, 4-6, 6-1 and 6-1. But then came the first act of giant killing. The number 4 seeds, 6-3 and 6-2, Abud and Solano. And then the number 5 seeds, Demoral and Frugoni, 7-6 and 7-5. Yesterday, semi-final, 7-5, 6-3 over Lopez and Gutierrez. And here we are today in this final. There's Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco without Ivan Fuentes. No coach on their bench, using all their experience. Themselves motivated. There's Maldonado and Pupo with no coach on their bench. So a fair outcome that when coached by the same coach, both teams will be without him courtside. Fair outcome to both sets of players. And as the court announcer got the crowd to raise their voices, see some of the crowd only trickling in now. Conditions are difficult for spectators, and they are trickling in now. We're going to get this match underway. Massimo Maldonado will serve to Maxi Arce, and we'll get this A1 Padel Lanzarote Open final going. Here we go. Maldonado to Arce. High in the air there from Del Bianco, testing out the lobs in the conditions. And for the corner there, Pupo defends well. Del Bianco into the corner. Players feeding each other out. First use of the back class there from Del Bianco. Arce following that ball as it dies into the corner. Pupo and Maldonado looking for the attacking position at the net. Trying to keep Del Bianco and Arce at the back. Arce and Del Bianco are happy to stay there. This time Maxi Arce goes for the big lob. There's the first bajada. The block effective. Del Bianco tries the first por tres. Doesn't get it out the court. Ball still in play. Taking it easy on the high shots is Del Bianco. And that return down the parallel there from Pupo, just shaving the edge of the fence. And the score is love 15. And if that first point is anything to go by, ladies and gentlemen, grab the popcorn, grab the refreshments. And this is going to be a humdinger of a final if that first point is anything to go by. Love 15, Maldonado to Del Bianco. Maldonado and Pupo alternating directions there. This time Pupo with less space into the fence, benefiting from the awkward bounce. 15 all. These early stages players just feeling each other out, seeing where they are, looking not to make mistakes. Almost a little bit of a battle of attrition, trying to keep things steady. First big hit there from Luciano Pupo. Getting enough kick off the glass. Big effort there, making sure. Franco Del Bianco high in the air, but a few meters short. $30 all is the scoreline. Big hit there from Luciano Pupo. And the block there from Franco Del Bianco over carrying into the glass. And that was Massimo Maldonado will rue that. Easy block down the center and in two minds, really. You can see there he reaches out and almost like he's pulling out to leave the ball for Luciano Pupo. And that forces the first golden point of the match in the first game. And for those of you unfamiliar, golden point, the sudden death of Padel. Played at deuce, receiver being chosen by the defensive team. And then the game decided. There we go. You saw there Arce with that backhand straight into the glass. And that is the decisive point. Game Maldonado and Pupo. One game apiece. Held serve well despite having been forced into a golden point. The players will now switch around really quickly. And we're going to take this opportunity to give a little shout out to our viewers in Greece. Kalimera, Elas, and Merhaba. For the Turkish listeners out there, thank you for your support and thank you for watching our stream. My name is Paulo de Carmen. I'll be keeping you company here on the English stream on the A1 Padel YouTube channel. If you don't want to listen to in English, there are options with our Spanish colleagues on the A1 Padel in Spanish, as well as our various media outlets, our media partners here with the A1 Padel Global Tour. Mediaset España, DAZN, ESPN, Disney Plus, Marca, La Liga Plus, and TV Monaco. And also not to forget the A1paddleglobal.com website, where you can just click on the streaming tab and watch the full event with commentary. 15 love. $15 If you're listening out there, give us a comment on the commentary on the comments section of the stream. We'll be happy to give you a shout out and interact. Tell us who you think will win this match. Perhaps tell us who you think will be the MVP of the tournament. And excellent shot there. Maxi Arce taking full advantage of that fence, dropping it short, a lot of side spin, and making it very, very difficult for Pupo to get under it. 30-15. This time, the big hit. Coming back to their side of the court. And watch here, Franco Del Bianco, his favorite shot, stepping into the middle of the court, hitting it with pace, getting the kick straight back to his side of the court. 40-15. Trying it out. We only saw him do 2 or 3 of those in yesterday's semi-final. Usually has a lot more of those. Conditions were very, very difficult and a lot better today. So expect to see a few more. Expect to see a higher tempo in this match than what we saw in both semi-finals yesterday. And that lob there from Maldonado overcarrying straight into the bottom end of the glass. 1 game apiece. Maldonado walking off court quickly to dry the handle of his racket. And that gives us some time to tell you a little bit more about Lanzarote, an intriguingly named place, Lanzarote. And it's so intriguing they gave it another name, the Island of Eternal Spring. And it's not only the 3rd most populated of the Canary Islands at 163,000 of population, but also one of the most cosmopolitan islands in the Spanish archipelago. And much like it was cosmopolitan in the past, having hosted the Phoenician people, then the Romans, Greek astronomers who visited, the Mayos, and then later on the Arab occupation. Today, in 2025, only 75% of the population are Spanish, with other nationalities, 4.5 being Colombians, 4.4% being Britons, Italians at 2.6%, Moroccans at 2.4%, and Germans at a full 2%. So a very cosmopolitan population, a very cosmopolitan heritage and history does the city or the island of Lanzarote have. And you should visit if you are anywhere near Spain. It's a short flight away, or in the north of Africa, and you can come and have a great holiday. Year-round warm weather, beaches and volcanic landscape, and lots of other things to do. We'll tell you about them a little later in some of our breaks, where we'll tell you even about the recent flooding that has now been sorted out with an effective and efficient government here in Lanzarote, and everything is back to normal. Franco Del Bianco looking for the gap there, trying to thread the ball between Maldonado and Pupo. Maldonado treats it really well. Del Bianco looks for the corner for the double wall. Del Bianco drops the pace. Well defended, Maldonado. Arce and Del Bianco seem to be looking to make Massimo Maldonado do a lot of work. And there, that little backhand lob there from Franco Del Bianco, just over carrying. That takes the score to 30-15. Very tight at the moment, as we expected. This will certainly not be a repeat of their last match in Cordoba, the semi-final of the A1 Padel Cordoba Open, where Arce and Del Bianco dispatched these two young men, 6-love and 6-2. We are expecting a harder fought battle here. Well read there, Luciano Pupo. As Franco Del Bianco takes the pace off the ball. He goes for a big hit. Doesn't get it right. Salvages the point. But this time it's a little too much. What a point, ladies and gentlemen. Watch here. He goes, has the ball in the air. Franco Del Bianco goes for the power. You didn't see that outcome there. He gets an awkward bounce off the kick off the glass. Ends up going right. Saves that one. And then sprints across the court to the left-hand side and can't get it. He comes off a little worse for wear with his elbow crashing into the glass. Score is 40-15. Intelligent play there from Luciano Pupo. This time. Whoa, 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 whoa. Puntaco, banga, banga. What a point, ladies and gentlemen. Franco Del Bianco goes for the big hit again. Doesn't get it out of court. And there's the Dormilona cross court and out of the court from Luciano Pupo. Phenomenal play. Luciano Pupo is announcing himself to the paddle world.
Not everyone plays here. Not everyone can. Some courts are built for regular games, and some courts are built for greatness. Padel Tech, official court of A1 Padel. Built for the new era of Padel. Built for the best.
And we're back. There was a commercial message from Padel Tech Courts, these beautiful paddle courts that you see on your screen. And the partner, there's a replay of that point. What a shot. Franco Del Bianco, best effort getting out. There's the big kick. There's the Dormilona. He tries his best, gets out there, but just irretrievable. That shot there from Luciano Pupo. Full points for effort for Franco Del Bianco, but that is a puntaco. That is a banger point for Luciano Pupo. Maxi Arce is on serve. This time Del Bianco comes across. He says, okay, try get this one. The last two didn't quite get out of court. They didn't quite get the required kick, but this one will get it. 15 love. And he goes again. This time, por tres. We have seen more attempted and concluded smashes, kick smashes here from Franco Del Bianco today than in the whole match of yesterday's semi-final. That is how much the conditions have changed and how much it's allowed the players to express themselves. 30 love. Franco Del Bianco is not happy about that last point. He's determined. You can see the determination in his face. And that's two finishes in a row. Maxi Arce trying to dink that one over the net. And didn't quite get over it. Trying to be perhaps a little too clever. You can see there being a little sneaky. Trying to get it just over and out of the door. 30-15. This time Del Bianco fakes the power. Changes it to slow down, and the point is in the bag. 40-15. Down the tee goes Del Bianco. Ball is high. Maxi Arce lets the ball bounce, attacks it with power, and gets the desired effect. 2 games all. Massimo Maldonado will serve. Very, very, very tight. Serve a little bit on the long side there from Maldonado. Second attempt a lot better. Arce into the air with a Balastagin type lob. Almost like holding a pan. Very effective. Maldonado and Pupo keeping Arce and Del Bianco at the back of the court. You can see they're trying to move forward. That lob not deep enough, didn't allow them. Del Bianco tries again, trying to push Pupo backwards. This one higher. Arce is able to make the ground. Retreats again. And that one there off the glass from Franco Del Bianco, over carrying straight into the back glass. Lots of patience and discipline exercise displayed there by Maldonado and Pupo, resisting the temptation to attack, trying to force Del Bianco and Arce into the errors, not allowing themselves to be worn down, which is one of the characteristics of the Arce Bianco game, which is to wear down their opponents. And that lob there from Pupo, trying to get over the head of Del Bianco, just carrying a little bit too much. Into the glass it goes, 15 all. Pupo and Maldonado in deep conversation. Umpire Carlos Juarez will not be happy to see that. Doesn't like the time wasting, and rightfully so. That's why there are breaks in between sets. And this time, Maldonado with the power. Maldonado, interesting player. He plays on in the drive position, but he's a left-hander, so he's traditionally he would have been a backhand position player, were he to play with the right hand. He has a lot of power, a lot of characteristics of a reverse player. So he defends on that right-hand side of the court, but has the power to finish like a reverse player. Very similar to almost to Juan Di Pascual in that sense. And this often makes it difficult for opposition players to judge the type of attack that's going to come from Massimo Maldonado, and he certainly uses it to his best advantage. Only 23 years of age, displaying a maturity way above his years here. High in the air goes Arce, trying to regain position. And there's the swivel from Del Bianco. Jumps, doesn't quite make it. He's able to get it back. Ball goes high into the air. And Maldonado, Pupo almost will it into the glass. And they go 3-2 up. When we come back, Franco Del Bianco will be serving. We're going to see what the benches have to say. Perhaps gather some wisdom on some strategy from these players as the game develops.
¿Otro o por mí? No, no, por vos no. No, porque si no, Nano hace lo que hago yo. La toca y queda, la toca y queda y no la erra. O sea, en esa dinámica no la erra. Vos sos...
¿Podés ir para distraer al otro?
Claro, exactamente. No, no, por vos, ya me estás jugando bien. Por eso te digo...
No, pues yo siento que me decís voy, pero luego no están caminando lo suficiente y siento que Nano me la tira ahí. Por eso estoy cómodo defendiendo,
Ok.
Pero quiero hacerle el desgaste.
Ok.
Después, cuando va el globo más rápido, ahí sí le quiero subir yo.
Perfecto, perfecto. Pero escúchame, entonces... No, bueno, yo lo que digo, no por vos, sino que... A ver...
No, estamos ganando porque estamos aguantando, ¿sí? Sí. Sin apurarnos.
Escúchame, estamos generando, metiendo una más. No generando con presión, estamos generando con presencia y tirando el problemón para el otro lado. No estamos haciendo más que eso, estamos tirando el problemón para el otro lado. Entonces, escuchá, hagamos lo mismo en defensa.
Vale.
Vamos a tirar el problemón para el otro lado.
Sí, tenemos que tratar de hacerlo.
Vamos,
en defensa.
vamos.
Dale.
Digastemos acá,
Un
digastemos
poquito
acá.
mejor que un globo, dale.
Tiempo.
Umpire Juarez calls time and players get back on court. 2-3 is the scoreline, and Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo, with their 3 games on the board, have now equaled the amount of games that they won in an entire match when they last faced Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco in the semi-final of the A1 Padel Cordoba Open, where they lost 6-0 and 6-2. So they've not only equaled, they have surpassed their performance of that semi-final. Maxi Arce to serve to Maldonado. 2-3 is the score. First set. If you've just joined us, we'll remind you of the match format as per the A1 Padel Global Tour guidelines. All matches on the A1 Padel Tour, best of 3 sets, with tiebreakers played at 6-all, and those tiebreakers, standard tiebreakers, first to 7 win by 2, and of course, golden point applying at deuce. And we already saw 1 golden point today. And if you're unfamiliar with golden point, that is a sudden death point with the receiving team choosing who will receive. And it is a sudden death, the penalty shootout of the sport of paddle. 15-love is the scoreline there. So Bianco looks to push Pupo back. That's left short. So Bianco goes for power. Once, twice. Extraordinary there. Maldonado retrieves that. Pupo trying to buy some time to get his partner back on court. And Maxi Arce waves his wand of mastery and goes slowly into the corner. And even though time was bought, Maldonado, look at that return, and then he gets that first one back. Watch how he gets this one back. Massimo Maldonado. Arce goes into the tin. It's rescued by Pupo, and that second one just a little too far. Excellent play there. Massimo Maldonado, despite not having won the point. And Franco Del Bianco there getting Massimo Maldonado to dig deep into his athleticism twice in a row, faking the smash with power and changing the pace. Massimo Maldonado doing short sprints there backwards and forward. He does retrieve it, but the ball unable to get over the net. 40-love is the scoreline. Perfect lesson for amateur and social players out there that power is not always the answer. Previous 3 points all won by the soft shot. And Pupo into the fence. 3 games apiece. Good idea there from Pupo. No breaks as yet. What a match this is becoming. Really tight. There's a replay. Arce doesn't quite get it. Pupo tries to buy his partner some time to get back on the court, but Maxi Arce uses all his guile to push that ball slowly into the corner, and Luciano Pupo cannot get there. 3 games apiece. Pupo serving. Bianco deals well with the awkward bounce off the fence there. Bajada straight down the middle. Well defended. Again, Del Bianco into the corner. And this time, Maldonado switches positions with Pupo, who tries to steal and catch Del Bianco by surprise. Wow, extraordinary point building up here. Both Maldonado and Del Bianco at full stretch. And These four have done this so many times on a practice court. As we said, they're from the same Padel Academy. They play and practice at the same training center in Buenos Aires, the PPT Academy. They have played many of these matches, despite the fact they've only met one more time in the A1 Padel Global Tour. And what a point, ladies and gentlemen. That is a banger of a point. Pupo Maldonado coming up on top. And that is Padel, ladies and gentlemen. It's the passion, it's the glory, it's the grit we keep talking about here on the A1 Padel Global Tour. We are A1 Padel and we live Padel. And if you don't believe that, press pause, rewind that, and watch it over and over again. That is a banger of a point. Good finish there from Maldonado. Catching Del Bianco running the wrong direction. He did make up the ground, but not able to get it over the net at full stretch. 30 love. Let's serve a little on the long side. Maxiarce returns exactly the same way he did the first one. A little bit more pace there from Maldonado into the corner, and Del Bianco not quite in the right position, can't get it over the net. Pupo to Del Bianco. 40 love. And this time into the ground goes Maldonado, out of court. 4-3, 3-4. A commercial break is in order. We need to get our breath back. We'll be right back.
¿Quién quiere una bolita con regalo? La bola oficial no, si alguien quiere. Mira, veo más entusiasmo por allá.
Wow, we got our breath back there, but look at this. Incredible points in that last game. Bangers of note as Franco Del Bianco serves to Massimo Maldonado. That ball, look at the havoc. That's the wind playing tricks with the ball. Well read, Franco Del Bianco. Excellent lob there from Maldonado, pushing Del Bianco all the way back. And Pupo with a completely unforced and basic error there. Ball clearly moving in the air as it descended. He's not happy with himself. He walks up to his partner Maldonado almost to explain what went wrong there, but not something he'd want to do. Crowd being a little bit unruly there on the right-hand side of the court. Franco Del Bianco stopping. Umpire Juarez doing his job, asking them to quieten down. And Franco Del Bianco goes into the glass. Anyway, 15 all is the scoreline. And what a match this is turning out to be. If you've just joined us, it is 3-4. It is the first set. It is the number one seeds versus an unseeded pair that has been giant slaying throughout this tournament. And what a tournament it's been. 71 teams started off on the 18th. That is 9 days ago in pre-qualifiers. That got whittled down into 32 main draw teams on the 21st. That was Monday. And now we are down to 2 teams here on your screens. And these 2 teams just happen to be the number one seeded team and an unseeded pair of Maldonado and Pupo. And boy, oh boy, don't get put off by them not being unseeded. Look at that play there. Maldonado catching the world's number one, Maxi Arce, wrong-footed, unawares, getting in behind him on the parallel with a slow and low shot and no response. 15-40, 3 break opportunities here for Maldonado and Pupo, and they will be looking forward to the potential of a break here. Franco Del Bianco wants none of that. Comes to the middle, pushes Maxi Arce out, goes with power, goes with strength, locks and loads, and fires away. Straight back to his side of the court. There's Massimo Maldonado waving his arms around. Still 2 break opportunities on offer here, 30-40. No need to panic for the 2 young men. Well defended Maldonado, not once but twice. You can see Arce and Del Bianco feeling the pressure. They're trying to step up another gear here. You can see by the aggression in their play. Goes for the corner of Pupo. Gets a little fortunate with the glass bouncing off the center there. And it is a golden point. Still a break opportunity here. Maldonado and Pupo will not want to throw this opportunity away. May not come again. It is 3-4. Del Bianco and Arce, of course. We spoke about how they want to reassure the paddle world of their dominance. And they do indeed. They win the golden point. They hold the serve from 15-40 down. They hold the serve and the score goes 4 games apiece. Tight as it can be. No breaks whatsoever. And these 2 players, that psychologically, that's going to give Arce and Del Bianco a little boost there. Maldonado and Pupo need feel no aggravation whatsoever. They are playing the match of their lives so far. They just got to keep doing more of the same. And the lob there from Pupo over carrying goes straight into the glass. He'll be disappointed with himself there. One more game after this with the current balls, and new balls will be introduced. Not sure that's going to be to the preference of the players or not. They are certainly faster, but the way the ball is traveling, it's possibly the last thing they need. And well played there. Attack at its mightiest there from Maldonado and Pupo. 2 big blocks from Arce, but the third one using the double wall and the fence from Pupo, the way of Franco Del Bianco gets them on the board. 15 all. These 2 young men, Maldonado and Pupo, certainly living up to their underdog tag. Well handled there. Maldonado resisted the temptation to go for power. Some taka-taka at the net there. Well defended there, Massimo Maldonado. It is short though. It is Franco Del Bianco, who just happens to be in position. Lets the ball bounce, fires away into glass number 2 and out of court. Look at that. Boom. Perfect kick out of court. And that was always going to be that point. 15-30. Del Bianco high in the air. Blocked at the net there from Maxi Arce. Del Bianco fakes the smash, drops the pace. This time Pupo reads it well. And this time it's Arce's turn to go for the Portres. He doesn't get it out. Maldonado deals with it well. And Pupo moving into the center, goes into the net. Not ideal. And whereas in the previous game we had 3 break opportunities, the way of Arce and Del Bianco, we now have 3 break opportunities, the way of Del Bianco and Arce. Maldonado on serve. They'll want to fight back here. A break at this crucial part of the game. It is 4-all. They'll go 4-5 down. And it'll be Del Bianco and Arce on serve to make life really complicated for this first set for them. Of all the games in the set to be broken, this isn't the one you want. And broken they are. Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce go 5-4 up. First set. We're going to have a little break. We're going to see what our business partners have to say, and we'll be right back with 5-4. Maxi Arce, Franco Del Bianco.
Vamos a quedarnos con lo positivo. En este cambio quiero remarcar las cosas positivas que venimos haciendo a lo largo del set. ¿Qué es la cosa positiva? Lucha, entrega, ganas, pero falta intensidad. Intensidad mental, no de piernas. Intensidad mental, ¿eh? Yo sé que sos un toro acá adentro, pero te necesito intenso de mente, ¿eh? Lucio. ¿Que vaya yo?
Quita al medio y ahí es donde cierra.
Por eso.
¿Qué?
Rustiquísima, así, sin efecto, bien paralela, con margen al galgo, si te viene muy incómoda, así y recuperamos. Vamos, animal, Vamos, estamos eso. Vamos, uno más.
Vamos. Te doy este,
Vamos, a cerrar, a cerrar.
Dale, decímelo, boludo, dale. Dame a pedo, pero tú.
Así estábamos muertos, dale. Parecemos muertos, dale.
Activame. No se cagón,
Vamos.
Dámelo vos ahora.
Dale.
Vamos.
Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco. Maxi saying, uno más, one more. We just need one more. Let's keep up the intensity, make them uncomfortable. And Massimo Maldonado leading the comments there, leading the encouragement to Luciano Pupo. We don't need legs. We've got legs. We need mental intensity. And that mental intensity is certainly what's needed if you are going to beat the number 1 seeded team in this A1 Padel Lanzarote Open Final. Arce serving to Maldonado. That return there from Pupo into the net. Pupo's work rate dropping somewhat. Head is down. Maldonado fired up. He's trying really hard to get Pupo back to his positive best. And that isn't the way. Luciano Pupo, a wild swing, trying to get the parallel. That shot, by the way, for all the amateurs and social players out there, is a 6% shot. That is the official percentage of a parallel backhand return on a serve being successful in the sport of paddle. 6%. That is one way of looking at it. It's also, you can also look at it as a 94% error chance. So whatever your perspective is, perhaps not a shot to be playing when you are 5-4 down in the first set of a final. Massimo Maldonado leading by example. Big hit there from the center of the court into glass number 3 and out of the court. Raises his hand in the air. He wants the crowd applause. He needs the adulation. He needs the motivation. That serve from Maxi Arce, a little bit on the long side. Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce have sensed Luciano Pupo has slowed down the work rate and they are targeting him. And this time Franco Del Bianco with a power hit off after that short lob there from Pupo. He leaves that short. You cannot leave them short to Franco Del Bianco. He's the sniper, el tirador. He locks and loads and puts them away, and you can run like Forrest. You ain't never going to get them back. 40-15, and it is set point. 3 set points available here for Maxi Arce. Maldonado left that short, and once again, Franco Del Bianco punishes. 6-4, first set. Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce over Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo. That is the first set wrapped up, and we're going to take a short break, gather our popcorn. We've run out, get some refreshments, and we'll be right back with you as we take you into set 2 of the A1 Padel Lanzarote Open Final, right here at the Marina de Lanzarote. There on your screens is that set summary. 6-4, 29 points won for Arsene Del Bianco versus 23. And the break points, that was the key. 1 out of 2 opportunities. 3 opportunities were had by Maldonado and Pupo, and they didn't take any of them. Golden points fairly even. This was a very even game. 15 winners versus 14. Forced errors 10-13. That one break, the very big difference here in the scoreline. 6-4. Very tight. And if Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo can keep their level, they could perhaps force a win here in the second set and force this into an epic third set. They are, of course, known as the Los Eléctricos. They're also the slayers of giants so far in this tournament. And one more giant would not be out of place by these young men. Of course, Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco are looking to assert their dominance. 2023 was a season to behold for Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce. 10 tournament wins, establish a record on the A1 Padel Global Tour circuit by having 10 tournament wins in 1 year. 2024, perhaps seen as a little subdued, but when you hear the stats, it's not really subdued by any standard. And that is that they had 4 tournament wins. In fact, Maxi Arce had 4, Franco Del Bianco 3, because Maxi Arce paired up with Pablo Lijo to win the Madrid Open when Franco Del Bianco was out injured. But they did reach the finals of 4 other tournaments. So to their standards, after having won 10 tournaments in 2023, that was perhaps a underachievement. But by all recollections, A tremendous achievement. 4 tournament wins. Now, 2025 is where the underachievement has come so far. This is their third final out of 4 tournaments. They haven't won a tournament yet. They were beaten finalists in the first two in Tucumán and Cordoba. France Open, France Masters, Grandmasters, in fact, they were eliminated at quarterfinal stage. And although they are the number one seeds, they are the number one ranked team. They'll want to make sure and show the world that it's not just ranking points that are keeping them in that position. They want to lift their first trophy of the year in Lanzarote. They want to be champions, and perhaps they are deserving of that title. 15:30 is the scoreline as Maldonado goes to serve now to Del Bianco. That's a tremendous finish there into the corner. 15:40. And from one break in the entire set earlier on in the first set, here we have first game of the second set, and we have 3 break opportunities here for Arce and Del Bianco as they start to turn on the screws on these 2 young gentlemen, Maldonado and Pupo. 15:40, Maldonado to serve to Arce. And the break is there, Luciano Pupo. And we said his energy levels seem to be dropping compared to Massimo Maldonado. You see how he walks. Watch him walk off the court with his head bowed. And there is the first game of the second set. And it is a break. Arce Del Bianco go 1-0 up. And there'll be a quick turnaround now. Players will be back on court momentarily. There is no coach on courtside for either of these teams. Remember, they are sharing a coach for this tournament, Mr. Ivan Fuentes. Done. That's off to Mr. Fuentes. Experienced coach out here in Argentina. The PPT Academy. All 4 of these players from the PPT Academy. Quite an achievement. Quite unique. Arce with the drop shot there at the net. Drop shot again. Now rid of is Maxi Arce. Only about particular level this commentator does. From Franco Del Bianco, and now we see Luciano Pupo in some voice, becoming a little bit more vocal. There's the reaction. Both of them, Pupo and Maldonado. They were broken, break back. Become a little crowd favorite team here, because of their giant killing acts. That lob stayed a little short. Beautiful block there from Maldonado. Maxi Arce unable to finish. Oh, and this time Maldonado misjudges the bounce off the glass, goes straight into the net. 15-all. That is incredible block there from Maldonado. There, that ball just bouncing away from Maldonado off the glass. A little further than he expected, and he is outstretched to get that into the net. 15-all is the scoreline. Great finish there. Maxi Arce into the corner of Luciano Pupo. 30-15. Into the net goes the first serve there from Arce. Arce once again allows that ball to bounce before attacking it. Wants to make sure there's minimum wind interference. The wind has picked up. It was, and when we started this match, at 24 kilometers an hour. We are now tracking at 27 kilometers an hour. Humidity has remained stable at 65, and it is a partly cloudy, although there's a lot of sun breaking through, 21 degrees Celsius. So Bianco to Pupo, 3 in a row already. He knows that's where the weakness is right now, and that time Arce goes into the net. 40-30. Have clawed one back, the young men. Pupo caught young Arce there a little unawares with that backhand down the parallel. And a little fortuitous there from Franco Del Bianco off that fence. And that gives Arce Del Bianco a 2-0 lead, second set. CJ changes direction with that bandeja. Gets a slight nick off the fence. That produces an awkward bounce. You can see there. And although in position, Maldonado can do nothing with it. Luciano Pupo now serving. Speaking to one of my producers last night about how beautiful this island of Lanzarote is, and he was telling me how it reminds him of the surface of Mars. Quite a fascinating thing, because it does indeed resemble the pictures we see of the surface of Mars, with its volcanic rock landscape and the way it is designed. And what we did last night over dinner is try some of Lanzarote's amazing wine. And got a little bit of a story out of that, is that in the landscape, in the area of Lajeria, there are some black volcanic rocks that stick out of the ground. And the farmers have learned that these stones retain the humidity of the air, which because there's hardly any rain on the island throughout the year, this retains the humidity. And that, combined with the minerals coming from the walls, allow them to grow some vines in between these rocks. And it is a one-of-a-kind thing. It is a wine of origin. It has a designation of orange, and these wines are internationally renowned. And they are actually, you could say, a little miracle within the wine industry. And I recommend if you go to if you drink wine and you go to your local wine shop to look for wine of Lanzarote. If not, when you are in Spain or perhaps in North Africa or even in the Canary Islands, you can have sample some of this Lanzarote wine. Quite unique in the way that it's grown, quite unique in its taste, and certainly an experience to be held. That is the wine of Lanzarote. This is the Padel of Lanzarote. So Maxi Arce goes high into the air. Very cautious there, Luciano Pupo. The ball is certainly moving a lot more on these lobs. Starting to resemble the caution that we saw yesterday in both semi-finals. There's another lob. Franco Del Bianco understands it. He's trying to take advantage of that. And that lob there off the backhand from Massimo Maldonado, clipping the top fence. He'll be disappointed with that. 30-all is the scoreline. Pupo to serve to Maxi Arce. Here goes again. Pupo to Arce. And there's the error from Del Bianco. Into the net he goes. 40-30. They'll want to hold the serve, Pupo and Maldonado, and keep the pace. They will not want to be broken. Pupo goes to serve to Del Bianco. 40-30 up. Arce with a bajada, the block, not quite effective. Franco Del Bianco waiting for it at the net. Goes hard and low underneath the racket of Luciano Pupo, who's almost caught by surprise at the movement there of Franco Del Bianco. And we have another golden point. Immediately, Maxi Arce puts his hand up to receive that. And Luciano Pupo goes to serve. It is a break opportunity for Arce and Del Bianco. Pupo and Maldonado will want to hold this. It's important. Beautiful block there, Luciano Pupo at the net. A lot of restraint being exercised here by Pupo and Maldonado. Arce and Del Bianco defending. And this time the lob from Del Bianco over carries into the glass. Well held, Maldonado, Pupo. 2-1 is the scoreline. And you can see, watch here, as the ball hits the glass, you can see the reaction there from Pupo as he punches the air. You'll want to do this. Commercial break is what we're going to do now. We're back on court. Franco Del Bianco will be serving. The score is 1-2 in the second set. That serve was off, so he'll have another go. And Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce, the number one seeded team, here taking on an unseeded team of Maldonado and Pupo. And Maxi Arce will be thinking, being the number one ranked player on the A1 Padel Global Tour, being the number one player in the world, is probably the most famous person in Lanzarote. He's also the ambassador of Salta in Argentina. But indeed he's not, as there is a resident in Lanzarote who has the privilege of being a dual royal princess. How's that? Most women in the world grow up with dreams of being a princess. And this young lady is a princess, not once, but twice. She's the princess of Greece and a princess of Denmark. And she is regarded as Greek and Danish royalty. She resides on the island. It's Princess Alexia, and she is the most famous person living on the island of Lanzarote. She also happens to be married to a gentleman called Carlos Morales Quintana, who is an architect, a world famous architect, and you can look up some of his work. You can Google Carlos Morales Quintana, a tremendous architectural talent and graphic design person. What a duo they are. But Princess Alexia, Maxi Arce, she is the most famous person in Lanzarote right now. You are still the number one player on the A1 Padel Tour, and certainly the number one seeded player for this Lanzarote tournament. And there's the error again off that backhand from Franco Del Bianco as Luciano Pupo presses the attack. It seems we have Luciano Pupo back in action once again. It seems his psyche is feeling a little bit more positive. And that is what makes these two, having garnered the nickname of Los Eléctricos, that is what brings the electricity to the court. Maldonado and Pupo. Del Bianco to Pupo. High in the air goes Pupo. Ball stays in court. Arce goes once, twice with power. Unsuccessful. Well dealt with Luciano Pupo and Massimo Maldonado. And there's the power from Pupo. Straight at the body of Arce. Immediately hand up apologizing. Arce, big smile on his face, walks towards him, gives him the high five. These things happen in the sport of padel. They're not intended. It's part of the sport. And you can see there Luciano Pupo a lot more aggressive than what he was earlier on. 15-40 is the scoreline. 3 break opportunities. Are we going to see that counter break? And we are indeed, as Franco Del Bianco goes into the net. And look at that punching in the air from Maldonado and Pupo. 2 games apiece, and they are back in the game against the number ones. There, Franco Del Bianco was trying to take the pace off that ball, and the underspin on the ball just caught him by surprise. Ball straight into the net. 2 games apiece. Massimo Maldonado will serve, and he will serve with confidence. That one goes into the glass there. 15 love. There's Maldonado in full flow of attack to both Arce and Del Bianco. And the intensity has certainly increased. We heard Massimo Maldonado telling Luciano Pupo earlier on in one of those bench conversations, it's not about the legs. We've got the legs. It's about the mental intensity. And certainly they brought that mental intensity back into the game. 40 love. This time it's Luciano Pupo trying to find an angle, dropping the pace, who goes into the net. (40-15) is still the scoreline. This time Pulpo goes over the head of Arce. He's using those change of directions to good effect. Making Maxi Arce move quite a bit. Staying away from that forehand of Del Bianco's. Attempted drop shot there from Maldonado. Arce awake to it. Well defended Arce. This is a great point building up here. High into the air goes Pupo. Ball stays in. Change of direction there. Great defense there. Luciano Pupo. Puntaco. Banga point. See there. Change of direction as Maxi Arce drifts across behind Franco Del Bianco. And Luciano Pupo sees it and he deals with it.
Vamos.
Hacer una defensa limpia con Franco. La bola me queda. Viste que le colgué el logo a rápido Maxi 2 veces. La bola me queda para hacer eso.
Si
Yo
pasa,
no voy a laburar, porque ya encontré el volumen.
Si pasa, acordate de bancar la paralela, ¿eh?
Sí,
porque si
sí.
le pasa al revés, va a tirar por abajo.
Sí.
Sin errores,
¿Entendés
Nanito.
lo que te digo?
Más que nada de este lado,
Sí.
que la lleva, sin errores.
Sí.
Sin errores, ¿vamos?
Encuentro la
Vamos a
defensa
romper,
limpia. Tengo que mover el orto atrás, Tengo que mover el orto atrás, Luego al revés.
Está bien, todo lo que quieras.
Hay que variar más, boludo,
Escuchame,
para mí.
Está todo bien lo que
Yo sé
quieras.
que yo estoy
No,
errando.
no, es que
pero
no
yo
es que
pienso que
erramos.
vas a hacer algo
No importa,
y salís con
pero
otra cosa
escuchame,
cuando yo te
amigo,
canto.
pero llegamos a eso porque vamos 2-0 y hacemos cualquier cosa, boludo.
Bueno, eso es otra cosa.
Pasaba así la pelota y de repente la pasaba así, boludo.
No la estamos pasando ahora.
No, boludo, pero baja el margen.
Yo también.
Así. No, boludo, pero el margen, digo.
Bueno, vamos, haceme caso. Si no, no canto nada y hacé lo que quieras, boludo. Vamos, Pancho, vamos.
Viejo, vamos.
Vamos, Juan, que está atrás. Dale. Y si vienen los dos...
And we heard there, Maxi Arce, Franco Del Bianco, deep in conversation. They are rattled. They are not at peace with what's going on. They sense the uptake from both Maldonado and Pupo, the rise in electricity, the rise in energy, and they will want to put a clamp on that. I want to be more aggressive. Maxi Arce telling Franco Del Bianco, I want to see you more aggressive. Stop playing at the back. Let's get forward. Let's take the game to them. There's an error there. Love 15. Franco Del Bianco fakes the smash. This time Maldonado is awake to it. Follows it up. There's a reverse bajada from Franco Del Bianco. Following instructions from Maxi Arce. Being more aggressive. Going left, going right. There's the power. Whoa! Luciano Pupo nearly got to that. That would have been a point of the tournament. First block was from Maldonado off the big hit from Franco Del Bianco, and then the second one from Arce. Luciano Pupo coming across from the other side of the court, manages to touch it, but can't get it over the net. 15-all is the scoreline. Franco Del Bianco at full stretch. Well executed. Well saved there from Pupo. time with power goes Pupo. Great point that. And ladies and gentlemen, you hold on to your seats. The intensity is here. The intensity has arrived and it is going to stay. What a tight set this is going to be. 15-30. You can see both teams have pulled up their notch. They've stepped up their game and the energy levels are rising. Arce Del Bianco going left and right. Pupo Maldonado defending. And there's the reverse bajada from Maxi Arce, uncharacteristic of him. And it goes straight into the side glass. 15-40. 3 break opportunities here for young Maldonado and Pupo. The last time they had this, they squandered the opportunity. Will they keep it this time? Maxi Arce scratching his head. Franco Del Bianco walks off court to dry his racket handle. Look there, there's the smile. It's back on Pupo's face. From walking around with his head down, he's now holding it high. He's smiling. The body language is super important. We have a medical break. It looks like Franco Del Bianco has hurt his finger. The A1 Padel medic is on hand to address it straight away. And speaking of A1 Padel medics, something to see. www.a1padelclinics.com. And if you're in Sevilla in Spain, a place to visit. The A1 Padel Clinics, an innovative project of the A1 Padel and a clinic specifically dedicated to paddle players. Go and have a visit. Follow them on social media. That is the A1 Padel Clinics or www.a1padelclinics.com. There's the block from Maxi Arce straight into the glass. Hands raised from Luciano Pupo. It is 4-2. The break has taken place. And Luciano Pupo and Maldonado, these young men, are making the comeback. The giant killers, the giant slayers, Los Eléctricos, are going to provide the electricity for this crowd out here in Lanzarote. And all of you out there watching, whether you're watching on the A1 Padel YouTube channel, or whether you're watching through one of our media partners out there, Mediaset España, DAZN, ESPN, Disney Plus, Marca, La Liga, TV Monaco, or even on our website, www.a1padel.com, under the streaming tab. Perhaps you're watching some highlights on our social media channels, be that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, or even LinkedIn. Either way, keep up, follow, friend, subscribe, whatever is applicable to stay with the goings on of the A1 Padel. A little unfortunate there, that lob just going over there to Franco Del Bianco and just carrying straight into the glass. See there, this one goes high. Del Bianco, there's the block from Maldonado. And that block just carrying slightly too much into the glass. There's Maxi Arce trying to get some energy back. And this time it's the finish from Massimo Maldonado, 15 all. Luciano Pupo getting in behind. Franco Del Bianco, 30-15. That ball dropping just before the glass. You can see there, perfect bounce. High in the air goes Maxi Arce. Not once, but twice. This time Maldonado makes him retreat off after that block. He goes in the air again, tries to buy himself some time, reposition, goes again. Didn't quite work out the way he wanted to, but Maldonado goes the way of Del Bianco. And that is the perfect angle. Massimo Maldonado wields his sword and gets the perfect angle just behind. Look at that, just behind Maxi Arce. That is perfect execution by Maldonado. That is superb. 40-30. A little slower there, Maldonado. This time he goes across. A high lob there from Maxi Arce. The swivel, Del Bianco. Once again. Pupo being very patient. In fact, both Pupo and Maldonado being very, very patient. And there's the error there from Franco Del Bianco. 5-2, Maldonado Pupo. We're going to take a little break and we'll come back and analyze this incredible comeback by these two young men, Maldonado and Pupo. His players are back on court. And what a performance we are witnessing right here. Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo are on song. They're taking the game to these number one seeds, and they are 5-2 up in the second set. First set, very tight. One break decided it, and 6-4 was the scoreline for Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco. And visibly, Maldonado and Pupo were disappointed with that. Luciano Pupo dropped his head slightly in the beginning and was broken in the first game of that set. And at 2-1, they've come back with a break and come back strong. 5-2 is the scoreline. Franco Del Bianco is serving 2-5. It is the second set. And in the absence of a courtside coach, Ivan Fuentes, who they both teams share, it is going to be up to both of these teams to get themselves into gear. Maxi Arce for sure is trying really hard. He's being very vocal, trying to get Franco Del Bianco to follow the pattern of game, to be more aggressive, to follow instruction. And that is working to some extent. However, Luciano Pupo becoming more and more confident. Massimo Maldonado driving the ambition has certainly put paid to a lot of that effort from Del Bianco. There's the big finish from Del Bianco, just as we spoke about him. That takes the score to 30-love. There's a big power finish. There's Maldonado with his energy chasing. He's chasing every ball. He's diving for every ball. You would have seen most players would have left that alone. He still chased it. It looked like an impossible task, but yet Massimo Maldonado, he's trying his hardest. Could Massimo Maldonado be a contender for the MVP of the tournament? Certainly a strong contender for the MVP of this match. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section below. There's the big power hit from Del Bianco. Pupo defends well. Well, to go again. Point is building in the backhand there from Del Bianco straight into the glass. 30-15. As the game becomes more excitable, so does the crowd. We saw the umpire Carlos Juarez trying to quieten the crowd down as Franco Del Bianco was looking to serve. Well defended there, Maldonado. Awkward bounce off the fence. And into the net goes Maxi Arce. 30 all. Luciano Pupo getting more and more confident in his play. That swivel backhand down the parallel there. Arce could only block into the net. That serve a little on the long side there from Del Bianco. And this time it's Del Bianco's error. Ball over carries. And there are 2 break opportunities now on offer here for these young men, which will allow them to seal the second set in emphatic style. 30-40 is the scoreline. Deep breaths here, Arce and Del Bianco. Usually known for their mental vitality, for their mental strength, digging down deep where it matters most, and having to find a way. Del Bianco with that top spin. Well defended Maldonado. And there the swivel from Pupo just necking the side of the fence. And a golden point is forced. There's still a break opportunity for Maldonado and Pupo. But Arce and Del Bianco have forced the golden point. Massimo Maldonado, hand in the air. He'll be receiving. A lot at stake. Crucial point here. Del Bianco serving. They want to stay in this game. In the set at least. Maldonado and Pupo will know it's their advantage. They don't have to, but they do. And they break. And it's the second set. Goes the way of Maldonado and Pupo by 2-6 or 6-2, whichever way you want to read it. And what a comeback by these young men. What a performance by the Giant Slayers. You'll remember they took out the number 4 seeds, they took out the number 5 seeds, and they are honors even here with the number 1 seeds. We'll be right back. There's that set summary on your screen, and you can see there the points won. Big swing, 27 points for Maldonado and Pupo over 19. There are the break points, 3 out of 4, where they were unable to create any breaks off their previous opportunities in the first set. And there is equal amount of smashes won, unforced errors, a big reduction for Maldonado and Pupo, only 7 versus 13 from Del Bianco and Arce, and 2 golden points won versus 0 of Del Bianco and Maxi Arce. 42 minutes was that set, a lot longer than the first set, despite that being a 6-4 scoreline. The points are starting to be active. The points are starting to be bangers. And what a thrill it is to be watching this here in Lanzarote or on your screens, wherever you may be, whether you are at work, in your lounge, on your mobile device, in your car, wherever you may be. And what a treat it is to be watching this, what can only be described as champagne paddle here on the A1 Paddle Lanzarote Open in the final, where we have pitted an unseeded team of Giant Slayers, Los Eléctricos, Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo, taking on the number 1 seeds, Maxi Arce, Franco Del Bianco, who are looking to re-establish their dominance on the A1 paddle circuit. The third set is underway, and the first blood goes to Arce and Del Bianco. Love 15 is the scoreline. Maldonado will serve to Del Bianco. 15 all. High in the air goes Pupo. Arce defends well. This time it's a turn of Arce and Del Bianco to take a commanding position at the net. Maldonado and Pupo looking to change that scenario. ups and downs on these lobs. The wind seems to have settled down quite a bit and is now back to the acceptable 24 kilometers an hour, which we had at the beginning of this match. And there's the error. That Chiquita to the feet of Del Bianco, and he's unable to raise it above the net. Wind velocity, as I said, now 24 kilometers an hour from the 27 earlier on. So players able to deal with the wind a little bit more effectively. Humidity also dropped from the 65 to 62%. And still a fairly standard, or stable rather, 21 degrees Celsius. Sun has broken through. There is a lot of cloud cover around, but the sun is shining beautifully through onto the court. Big smile there from Luciano Pupo. He knows the error was unwarranted, but it is 30 all, the scoreline. If you've just joined us, my name is Paulo de Carmo, and I'll be keeping you company with the English commentary right here on the A1 Padel Global YouTube channel. There's the error from Franco Del Bianco. And you'll know that this is the fourth event of the year so far on the A1 Padel Global Tour calendar, the Lanzarote Open. And we were to be followed next week, in fact, starting tomorrow, with the Toledo Open still here in Spain. That has been postponed due to technical difficulties. And our next tournament in San Juan, in the heart of Argentina, 16th of May to the 25th of May, the San Juan Masters in Argentina. And what a tournament that is promising to be. The entries are open. There is an exceptional amount of entries. That'll include pre-qualifiers and qualifiers. And what a reception the A1 Padel Tour got in San Juan last year, 2024. Sellout crowds, big atmosphere. It is the cradle of paddle in Argentina. That is San Juan. We look forward to 16th of May. Put it in your calendar. The San Juan Open. 16th of May to the 25th of May. The San Juan Masters. Maldonado and Pupo, 1-love up in this third and final set. Quick switch around. Maxi Arce to serve. One set apiece. 6-4 the first one, the way of Arce and Del Bianco. 6-2 the second, the way of Maldonado and Pupo. Third set now. Love one. Maxi Arce to serve to Maldonado. Maldonado leaves that return a little short. Franco Del Bianco says thank you very much. Powers it down the center, and no opportunity of defense whatsoever there from Massimo Maldonado. Deep conversations here with umpire Juarez. Maldonado with a big smile on his face. There is a video review that has been requested. And it has been requested by Luciano Pupo. We'll shortly see it on your screens. Umpire Carlos Juarez, very experienced with video review equipment, and of course, very ably assisted by our production crew and our video review team here at the A1 Padel Global Tour Technical Facility. And we'll be able to share those images, which are the same images that umpire Juarez is privy to, and you'll be able to see exactly how the decision gets made. Players bouncing, staying warm. Here we are on your screens there. And there is the serve. That doesn't look good at all. Looks out. That serve looked out. So it would have been a first serve. Point does not count. And What Maxi Arce did there was his second serve, and there the ball just skinning the body of Maxi Maldonado. Same result, different content, 15 love, Arce Del Bianco. Luciano Pupo trying to catch out Maxi Arce there by surprise, trying to get in over his head. Fakes the powerful shot and just gives it a little tap, trying to get over the head of Maxi Arce. Not very successful. Ball carrying over all the way into the glass. 30 love. If you watch Maxi Arce play, what an example he is to young players all over the world, particularly as they begin to play paddle. Paddle, of course, is a sport exploding throughout the world. We've heard it over and over again, the fastest growing sport in the world. What is real is that it is spreading to every country of the world, and it is starting, and a lot of it is, the sport is in its infancy. So a lot of players learning how to play. And Maxi Arce is one of those players that young players should watch. Watch him walking around the court. His racket is up. He's well prepared. He's double stepping every opportunity in every movement. When the ball is in the air, he prepares his shots well ahead of time. Someone to follow. You should actually record some of these games, put a highlight circle around Maxi Arce and watch how he plays the game. Real consummate professional, really very, very able in terms of technique. You see there, look at it, his arm is up in full preparation, second time round. He moves, double steps, split steps, racket is up. And of course, as I'm the commentator, and there's a commentator's curse, as I'm singing his praises, he goes into the net. But look at that preparation. Racket was high in the air, ahead of time, plays his shot, and then he does what all amateur players do, looks at his racket after it's gone wrong, because there has to be something wrong with the racket. Otherwise, that shot would have always been a good one. And that is a perfect shot there from Franco Del Bianco. Pierces the veil, finds the hole of the needle, and he goes, there's a bajada first, there's a second one, the third one, backhand right through the middle, ball bouncing just before the glass. Wonderful backhand as he takes his racket out of his pocket there and follows through with the drive there on that backhand. He's so good at moving forward as he drives with the backhand. He's Franco Del Bianco. One game apiece, Luciano Pupo to serve. And 20 games we have played. Introduction of brand new balls. You can hear the noise there from Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo as they try to take some air out of the new balls. Those new balls, once again, Nox Nebros. New model of Nox balls. Nox, the official ball provider ball partner for the A1 Padel Global Tour. 2024 was the Nox Titanium. This year, the Nox Nebro. Really good ball. A little bit faster than the Titanium. And that suits conditions such as this one. The ones here in Lanzarote. $15 love. The angle of that serve just a little short. Ball coming off the fence. Pupo will go again. Changes direction. Maldonado does. Allows Arsene Del Bianco to move to the net, goes for the bajada and straight into the net. 15 all. Maldonado and Pupo need to be really careful that they don't allow this intensity to fade, that they keep it up. A little unfortunate there. That shot at the net, that slice shot from Luciano Pupo. Goes straight into the corner of the glass, 15-30. A little fortunate Franco Del Bianco there. Pupo and Maldonado adopting the strategy of keeping both Arce and Del Bianco at the back of the court. Sneaky shot there. Maldonado changes direction. Goes with power. Arce defends well. Wonderful point. There's the reduction of pace into the corner from Franco Del Bianco. Banga, banga. Puntaco. What a point. Unable to finish there. Pupo once, twice. Gets another opportunity there. This time, Franco Del Bianco says, this is how you do it. Into the corner, far away from you. And slowly does the job. Great point. Another one for the highlights reel. What is also in the highlights reel now is that the score is 15-40 and there are 3 break opportunities here for the number ones. Maldonado, Pupo with deep breaths here. And Franco Del Bianco threads the needle once again, straight through the middle with that backhand. They have the break. It is 2-1. We're going to take a commercial break too, just as they got a break, and we'll be back to you and tell you about the possibilities and the permutations. We saw some commercial messages there. Here are some highlights on your screen. What a match that was. What a game that was. And what a match this is turning out to be. Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo have just been broken. Will that alter the electricity of Los Eléctricos and allow the number ones to go on and seal this third set in their first title of the season? Or will Maldonado and Pupo once again dig down deep and make a remarkable comeback? While that's happening, and while we watch the break there, and the young man having some refreshments, it would pay you to go and check out A1 Padel social media channels, A1 Padel Official, or A1 Padel. That will be on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, or LinkedIn, as well as YouTube, of course, where you might be listening to me. And make sure you follow, subscribe, friend, whatever is applicable, so you can keep up to date with the latest goings on, the latest highlight clips, and potential offers of the A1 Global Universe. 15 love is 30 love, apologies, is a score as Franco Del Bianco finishes that with power. Maldonado and Pupo in conference. Del Bianco waits patiently. They have the psychological upper hand right now. Well defended there from Luciano Pupo. And that awkward bounce there, bamboozling Maxi Arce. Getting there just after the second bounce, 30-15. That lob left short. Maxi Arce lets it bounce, attacks it. Franco Del Bianco says, Maxi, this is how you do it. You aim for the second glass on the right-hand side. You try get the top corner and the ball will just kick out of court. That is how you do it, Maxi Arce. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. A perfect kick smash out of court. Brought to you by Franco Del Bianco. Little conversation with umpire Juarez once again, and another video review called for. Luciano Pupo, the man calling for it. Umpire Juarez immediately headphones on, requesting the video review from the video review team. The last video review was upheld. This is the second one of the match so far. Players keeping warm. There's Massimo Maldonado, vocal as always. Umpire Juarez says the ball is good. The debate ensues. Massimo Maldonado not happy with umpire Carlos Juarez's decision. That ball looks well in, and it looks like a very good decision there by umpire Juarez. And basically ignore that scoreboard. That would have been game, and Massimo Maldonado will now serve to Maxi Arce, and the score is 1-3. $15 love. Can hear the background wind noise there against the microphones, on-court microphones. You can see on the top right-hand side, the A1 Padel flags on your screen. You can see how they're moving around. We've seen a slight increase in the last few minutes of wind. There's the big kick smash from Massimo Maldonado. Arce in position. Ball dies off that second bounce and is almost overran it. He's not just made it, he's overmade it. There we go. The ball comes out slightly with less power than what he anticipated. 30 love is the scoreline. High in the air goes Pupo. That one misjudged by Maxi Arce. 40 love. Whatever happens in this result, Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo are really having fun. They're enjoying the experience. It is their first tournament final in their young careers. They're, after all, 20 and 23 only, and they're loving every minute of it. They're playing with aplomb, whereas in the first set, they were very cautious. Second set, they become more adventurous, and they continue to play that way. They're having fun and making the best of the experience. Franco Del Bianco says, enough of that fun nonsense. We're here to get on with it. Want to win this match. Puts a little power, goes towards Massimo Maldonado's body, and gets the ball back to his side of the court. 40-15 is the scoreline. Maldonado to Arce. That one goes straight into the glass. 40-30. Maldonado wasn't convinced, but I don't think he wanted to call another video review there. The ball did bounce quite high off that edge. Maxi Arce was convinced that that was out. Umpire Juarez went with the out call. And again, the ball clips the underside of the glass. Very high bounce though. Perhaps that body language there of Maxi Arce influencing umpire Juarez's decision. And we have a golden point. Maldonado will be ruining the chances missed here. 40-15, 40 love up. Now a golden point. And potentially a break opportunity for Arce and Del Bianco. And if they are to be broken here, you'd be a very strong backer of underdogs to believe that Arce and Del Bianco would not go on and win this third set and put the championship to bed. It is vital that Maldonado and Pupo stay in the game, hold the serve, and are not broken. That's left short. Arce attacks. Doesn't finish. There's the fake smash from Del Bianco. There's a change of direction from Pupo. Goes straight into the glass. Good idea. Bad execution. And Del Bianco Arce go 4-1 up and on the road to closing the set off. And then claim their first title of the 2025 season.
Es pico y pala, no pega un smash. Al menos que esté al lado de la red. Al lado. Porque se frena. Primero una se frena. Entonces podemos dejar picar. Y la otra cuando pegamos también se frena. Entonces,
O sea, si le dejamos picar, vas vos, fundí. Si te viene, fundí.
escúchame. Y por otra, sacamos este y el game de defensa completo al galgo. Porque acá sí se lo podemos pinchar tranquilo. O sea, no hace falta tener más precisión. Acá es al medio y va al galgo siempre. Entonces, de aquel lado sí es mejor ir al 4 al medio, tranquilo. Porque tenemos viento, dirección, todo. Entonces, solucionamos al medio. Pero vamos a ganar de este lado, Dale.
Este game es importante, Que nos corran del 1-5. Vamos.
Vamos, Es uno más rey,
Vamos, tu saque, Sí. Seguir de firme, No, yo lo agarro yo.
No, yo
Como el primer hice.
Yo estoy bien, o sea, no tiene que tirar afuera.
Sí,
Aparte,
pero-
este game yo siento que no me contragolpeó ninguna.
No.
Por eso, este game por ahí, bueno, si querés hacerte un poquito más cargo y jugamos un poquito más contra Frank. Si ves que llegas a entrar, tampoco vamos a desarmar al que
Claro.
¿Bien?
Sí,
Dale.
sí, todos.
Sí, si me la pillo. Va.
Maxi Arce to serve to Maxi Maldonado. And what an advantage Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco now have in this third and decisive set. 4-1. It's been a lot closer than what the scoreline suggests. And that last golden point, Luciano Pupo with the right idea, the right shot, and slight bad execution cost them the game. It would have been 3-2. And they would have remained in the game. Instead, it is 4-1 for Arce and Del Bianco. And Arce and Del Bianco on their way to show why they are the number one seeds, why they are the number one ranked team on the A1 Padel Global ranking system. Arce down the middle there, well blocked Maldonado. This time Maldonado decides to change direction. Is that enough of Arce, the Arce duel? And Pupo gets in behind Arce. No answer there from Arce. Punches the air. Love 15. Anything is possible. These two young men, they are unpredictable. They are Los Eléctricos. They are fearless. They have nothing to lose. It's their first ever final. And there's the power from Del Bianco. Doesn't get enough. Pupo in the perfect position. That's 2 in a row from Pupo. That's going to do his confidence a world of good. Look at that. He's in perfect position. Into the ground, out of the court, and into the crowd. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Love 30. Maldonado there resisted the temptation to go for power. Instead forced Arce into the defense, but it was a good defense. And Del Bianco in the corner there. Maldonado returns, but returns into the fence. 15-30. Del Bianco over there of Pupo. Pupo looks for the angle there behind Del Bianco. Del Bianco responds well. A little fortunate there with a clip of the net. Del Bianco. The focus seems to be on Del Bianco. That one over carries though. Well done, Franco Del Bianco, under attack from both Maldonado and Pupo. And he stayed constant, stayed resilient. And the error eventually came from Luciano Pupo, 30 all. Del Bianco lets it bounce. Unusual for him. Maxi Arce has been letting it bounce quite a few times and attacking it. Franco Del Bianco not so. He did this time. That lob left a little short. Pupo resists the temptation to fire. The second one, which was the one to go softer on, he goes a little harder and he goes straight into the glass. Really unnecessary. That is not an unforced error. That is an unnecessary error. You can see the look on his face there. He's not happy. The score goes 40-30. They were love 30. And now it is 40-30. Maxi Arce serving to Pupo, looking for what could be an unassailable lead. There's the power from Del Bianco. Pupo is there. He gets it over and the ball doesn't make it back onto that side of the court. 5-1 is the scoreline. 1-5, and it's going to take not a giant slaying act, but a literal miracle for Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo to get back into this game. 1-5 is the scoreline. It is the third and final set. If you just joined us now, Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco won the first set by 6-4, dropped the second set by 6-2 to Maldonado and Pupo. And in the third and final, Luciano Pupo will serve now 1-5 down in what could be the final game of this match. Nothing to lose. Maldonado goes for power, doesn't get the right ricochet off the glass. And Franco Del Bianco is waiting, swivels into the ground, ball out of the court, perhaps even into the water right here at the marina. Remember, we are at the most stunningly beautiful Marina de Lanzarote here in Arrecife. Arrecife is the capital of Lanzarote. We've been hosted so well by the Sports Club de Puerto Calero, who hosted the qualifiers, and then on the main day, on the Monday, we moved to Center Court here at the Marina de Lanzarote in Arrecife. And how beautiful it is. You see lots of those aerial shots and lots of those clips on our social media channels, and you can see how beautiful that setting really is. Love 30. Pupo down the tee to Arce. Returns with the lob. Maldonado goes to Del Bianco. Bandeja 1, Bandeja 2. The lob stays in from Del Bianco. Just. And beautiful shot there, Maldonado. Gets in behind Maxi Arce. Ball bouncing just before the fence. And that is no fluke, ladies and gentlemen. He's done that. This is the third time he's done a similar shot today. Previous two a little slower, but that one with a little bit more power. So very well intended. Into the glass goes Del Bianco, 30 all. Dale, they say. Give it to him. Umpire Juarez asking Arce and Del Bianco to get on with it, calling for time. Good defense there, Maldonado. Both Del Bianco and Arce going the way of Maldonado over and over again now. They've switched their attentions now to Luciano Pupo. Back to Maldonado we go. Once, twice. Attentions back to Maldonado. And Pupo and Maldonado in constant defensive mode here. Unable to get to an attacking position. Bianco looks for the angle. And beautifully played. Intelligent play there. Massimo Maldonado seeing his partner on the floor after Luciano Pupo played that extraordinary shot. You can watch here. Extraordinary shot. Del Bianco somehow reaches it. And he finds the gap. Intelligent play there. Massimo Maldonado. Very, very intelligent. He could really be, whatever happens in this match, a serious contender for the MVP of this tournament, Maxi Maldonado. Particularly of this match. He has played an incredible, fearless game. He has played out of his skin, and it has been a pleasure to watch. 40-30 is the scoreline. Not over yet. The fat lady is yet to sing. And Luciano Pupo misjudges that bounce, tries to block that on the half volley. Ball clips the top side of his racket and goes straight over his head and out of the court behind him. And Arce and Del Bianco force the golden point. Is yet another match going to be decided on a golden point? It is a game, set, and match opportunity here for Franco Del Bianco and Maxi Arce. And a dig deep and fight back opportunity for Maximo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo. Golden point. Maxi Arce to receive. Pupo goes straight down the middle to the body. In the air. Pupo looks for Del Bianco. Del Bianco with a backhand lob. The fortunate bounce comes off the glass. Del Bianco retrieves well from behind. Magical touch. The point goes on. There's the lob from Arce. Ball bounces just before the corner. Little dink there from Maldonado. Really intelligent play. And after all that good work, Massimo Maldonado overcooks that one into the side fencing. And Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco have their very, very first title of the 2025 season. They win the A1 Padel Lanzarote Open right here in Arrecife, Lanzarote. And what a game. These two young men, Maldonado and Pupo, can hold their heads up high. They have put in a mammoth effort here against their very good friends, Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco. Remember, they come from the same paddle academy in Argentina. They play each other so often on the practice courts, and they have taken them to task. The previous time these two met was a 6-0, 6-3 win for Arce and Del Bianco. Today, not the same thing. 6-4, 2-6, and 6-1. And don't let that 6-1 fool you. It was a lot closer than that, and marginal errors led to the necessary breaks and the necessary golden point wins for the number ones. These two young men can walk off this court feeling really proud of themselves. Maxi Arce and Franco Del Bianco will feel vindicated that they are back on top. They have won a tournament. They've won the A1 Padel Lanzarote Open.
En breve también vamos a
There they are, celebrating with each other. Look at that shot there, Franco Del Bianco. Some magic from the sniper. And then there's the error from Maldonado. Unexpected. Arce was expecting to run some more for a few more points. And they got the win. And what an effort here by these two young men, Maldonado and Pupo. Can you believe that? Number 18 and number 22 ranking, and that won't be for long. Tomorrow's new rankings will show them very well entrenched into the top 10, and only 20 and 23 years of age, having shown remarkable improvement in the last month, remarkable improvement in the last year. There's that set summary. There is, look how tight that is. Winners 11-9, but the total points won 26-15. A big trick there are the golden points. Two to Del Bianco and Maxi Arce, both on breaks over Maldonado and Pupo, and then unforced errors. 14 for Maldonado and Pupo versus only 4 from the champions. And there we go. There's the match summary, and you can see there how tight everything really was. Winners 36-35, total points 174-65. The break points 5 out of 7 and 3 out of 7 only for Maldonado and Pupo. That could be the big difference. Golden points 3 apiece, and then the unforced errors 28-34. So really, really tight, despite that scoreline in the third set. Really overall very, very tight. We're going to go to Clara Navarro, who's going to be interviewing the winners of this match on courtside.
Ya tenemos campeones de este Lanzarote Open, los número 1. Maxi, felicidades por vuestro primer título de esta temporada. Sí que es verdad que lo llevas diciendo toda la semana, que te gusta cómo estáis jugando, el nivel que estáis demostrando, y al final era una final entre amigos, pero una rivalidad sana. Felicidades por el título.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias. Gracias a todos los que están acá apoyando. Se vivió una hermosa final, un hermoso ambiente. Primero felicitar a los chicos, nos llena de orgullo que estén peleando por títulos porque sabemos el esfuerzo que hacen día a día, somos muy amigos, así que estén en estas instancias, la verdad que es buenísimo y es durísimo porque nos conocemos tanto, tantas horas de entrenamiento juntos que bueno, sabemos cómo jugar, ¿no? Entonces no hay sorpresa, salen estos partidos muy difíciles, así que nada. Y por nuestra parte, súper felices. Creo que todavía no podemos descargar toda la felicidad que tenemos. Cuando terminó el partido no nos salían los gritos, la verdad, porque lo hemos sufrido mucho, lo hemos luchado. Pasamos un momento complicado, obviamente, porque los resultados no venían, pero no tiramos la toalla, seguimos luchando. Gracias a Gustavo y a nuestros psicólogos porque hicieron un gran trabajo este tiempo y a nosotros, también gracias a nosotros por no tirar la toalla y lucharla.
Bueno, sí que es verdad que habíais estado en las finales de los 2 primeros torneos, Francia, punto y aparte. Aquí acabáis de demostrar que veníais con más ganas que nunca de obtener el título.
Sí, totalmente. Cuando pasó lo de Francia, el enojo lo tuvimos que dejar de lado y mascar bronca y arrancar de nuevo. Porque esto es así, por ahí los momentos duros en el pádel duran mucho, pero los buenos duran poco, así que acá intentamos invertir, sabiendo que teníamos revancha pronto, 2 semanas de entrenamiento para este torneo, así que lo dimos todo para llegar a las mejores condiciones. Así que, pero nada, no me quiero olvidar también de nuestros sponsors por estar siempre, a Fabriz Pastor, a Adidas y a Homa en mi caso, y a nuestra familia por bancarnos nuestro mal humor, sobre todo cuando las cosas no salen, así que muchísimas gracias.
Franco, recordemos que el año pasado aquí en Lanzarote te tuviste que retirar por lesión, pero hoy, este año, ya puedes decir que te llevas el título a casa.
Bueno, sí, muy contento, muy feliz, gracias a toda la gente que está acá. Hace mucho calor con el sol en Argentina. Felicitar a los chicos, son grandes compañeros nuestros, amigos, y la verdad no es sorpresa que estén acá en la final, súper merecido. El año pasado venía pasando muy mal con el tema de la lesión, no pude continuar en este torneo y bueno, acá campeonar junto al lado de este animal me pone muy feliz. También sabemos el trabajo que venimos haciendo durante todo este año y todos los años anteriores, así que nada, no pudimos descargar, estamos muy cansados, sabíamos que iba a ser una batalla contra ellos, Pero bueno, se nos dio por fin, primer título de la temporada. Ahora toca descansar un poquito y pensar en nosotros. Gracias a los sponsors, a Loc, a Monte Carlo, a Fabrizio obviamente por todo esto, a nuestras familias, a mi novia que me está bancando un montón, a la familia. Y nada, no me quiero olvidar nada. El viernes fue el cumpleaños de mi padrino, no, me olvidé de saludarlo, estaba muy concentrado. Así que, Edu, feliz cumpleaños para vos. Te quiero mucho y te extraño.
Yo creo que de aquí en unos minutos ya podréis descargar esa felicidad.
Bueno, seguramente ahora nos iremos rápido en el transfer, que tenemos el vuelo, pero nada, ahora a descargar, a disfrutar con los chicos, que por más que hayamos jugado la final, seguimos disfrutando los cuatro y la Academia PPT está muy feliz, así que toda la gente de Argentina está feliz también.
Pues felicidades, chicos, un aplauso para los número 1 y nos vamos con la ceremonia de premios.
Oh, there we go. The winners with Claro Navarro. And special big mention there from Maxi Arce for Gustavo, a sports psychologist now employed by the #1 team. Felt very disappointed with the exit in the quarterfinals in the France Masters, Grandmasters in fact, and had been doing lots of mental work to improve their game. The usual thanks to sponsors and family and friends, and they are absolutely thrilled with their first victory of the 2025 season. Lots of praise as well for their friends, good friends, Massimo Maldonado and Luciano Pupo, who have put up a tremendous fight in this final. And as we leave you with these pictures, we saw there that people are getting ready for the prize giving and the awards ceremony that is going to take place right there on court. And we're going to have some of those dignitaries doing the prize giving, including Juan Mozon, the Council of Sports of Cabildo of the island of Lanzarote, the CEO of Tourism of Lanzarote, Mr. Hector Fernandez, and Jonathan De Leon, the Mayor of Arrecife. So we're going to wait for those setups to be done while we watch some amazing highlights of this great final we have witnessed here today. Of course, as I mentioned earlier today, you'll be able to see some highlights packages on YouTube later on, and you'll also be able to see some of the amazing points, clips, puntacos from the entire tournament and today's final on our social media channels, be they Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok. So make sure you friend, subscribe, like, whatever is applicable.
Juan Monzón, el consejero de Deportes del Cabildo de Lanzarote, Jacobo Medina, consejero de Obras Públicas del Cabildo de Lanzarote, y Jonathan De León, el alcalde del excelentísimo Ayuntamiento de Arrecife. Y en primer lugar vamos a dar la palabra y vamos a invitar a que nos dedique unas palabras Juan Monzón, el consejero de Deportes del Cabildo de Lanzarote.
Gracias. Bueno, muy buenas tardes en este día caluroso de hoy. Gracias en primer lugar a la afición por aguantar este clima y arropando a esa gran final del pádel. Es un orgullo para nosotros, para Lanzarote, recibir un año más a A1 Padel, este circuito internacional, y felicitar a los dos equipos, a los ganadores y a los que no, aunque los que han dado todo y nos han demostrado un gran nivel del pádel internacional y un gran espectáculo en la isla de Lanzarote. Agradecer la presencia de nuestro alcalde de la ciudad de Arrecife, a nuestro consejero Jacobo Medina, también del Cabildo de Lanzarote, y de manera especial permítame que le dé las gracias y felicitaciones a la gran organización de A1 Padel, que un año más demuestran la capacidad de organización de un evento de carácter internacional en nuestra isla de Lanzarote. Simplemente felicitar a todos los que han pasado, tanto en la fase previa de clasificación como a los que han pasado en esta semana, todos esos equipos que han pasado en esta semana para esa fase clasificatoria, llegar a la semifinal y llegar a esta gran final. Felicidades y nada, probablemente nos vemos el año que viene. Gracias.
There is the Council of Sports of the Cabildo.
Bueno, y ahora es el momento de desvelar quién es el MVP del torneo. Invitamos a Jacobo Medina, el consejero de Obras Públicas del Cabildo de Lanzarote, a hacer entrega del premio para, sin sorpresas, el número 1 del ranking, Maxi Arce, MVP del torneo.
And the MVP for the tournament is Maxi Arce. And I can tell you now the voting was
Ahí
tight.
lo tenemos
with
recibiendo el
Maldonado
premio que la acredita como MVP de este torneo, de este Lanzarote Open, del A1 Padel, de la mano de Jacobo Medina. Enhorabuena, Maxi.
MVP award there for
Y ahora
Maxi Arce.
invitamos a Jonathan de León, el alcalde del Ayuntamiento de Recife, para que haga entrega al premio a los finalistas. Maxi Maldonado.
Jonathan de Leon, he's the
Lucho
mayor
Pupo.
of Arrecife, the capital city
Gran
of Lanzarote.
papel, gran torneo, gran final. Primera vez que la juegan. Hasta el tercer set, dándolo todo. Estos finalistas del Lanzarote Open.
And what a effort these two young men put up. Their first ever final on the A1 Padel Global
Ahí
Tour.
los tienen. Finalistas del Lanzarote Open, Maxi Maldonado y Lucho Pupo. Fuerte aplauso de nuevo para ellos.
Maldonado and Pupo, and let's hope that these boys can
Y ahora
carry
vamos
on
a
this
invitar
momentum
a
into
Juan
the next
Monzón a
tournament.
que se una
We
al
told you the next
fotocall
tournament is going
para
to
ahora
be
sí
in
darle el
San Juan,
premio
Argentina.
a los vencedores, a los número uno ganadores del Lanzarote Open. Maxi y Franco.
Maxi Arce, Franco Del Bianco,
Maximiliano Arce, Franco Del Bianco, campeones de esta final y del torneo A1 Lanzarote Open. Otra final para ellos, otro torneo para ellos que consolidan su condición de números uno.
And what
acompañados por Juan Monzón.
And of course, the biggest share of that
Y ese premio que
€156,000 prize
acredita a la pareja como campeona del Lanzarote Open A1 Padel. Fuerte aplauso para los campeones. Ahí está.
Unassailable lead in that number one position. You can see big smiles all around as they smile for the photo opportunities. There's the four of them. What a team. Great friends, the four of them. As I said before, all four of these players hailing from the same paddle academy in Argentina. Great friends, grew up playing together, more or less the same age group. 27, 25 for Arce Del Bianco, 23 and 20 for Pupo and Maldonado. Great advertising for the sport of paddle. Average age here, 23 years old for finalists of the A1 Paddle Global Tour. Lanzarote Open of 2025. There are your winners. And what more could we ask for? We've been thrilled with a week of champagne paddle right here in the island of Eternal Spring, Lanzarote.